Hi everyone. In this video you will see the top 5 best tier 8 medium tanks. This top was compiled based on my subjective opinion. There will be both premium and standard vehicles. Don't forget to like or dislike this video. Well, let's begin. In 5th place is the Soviet T-44. I'm sure, many WoT players, passing the Object 140 line, never paid proper attention to T-44, or never played this tank at all. But in vain. This is a really cool tank. After all, it has no weighty disadvantages. T-44 has good mobility. The top speed is 51 km per hour. Specific engine power is 22 horses per ton. This is not the best performance compared to other tier 8 medium tanks, but also far from the worst. The armor is also good. The turret has a ricochet shape, and if the gun mantlet can be penetrated, the bevels on the left and right are impenetrable. Often the armor of this turret really works. The hull is also very good. You can use its armor if you play properly, but you shouldn't rely on it all time. As for the firepower, there is a standard 100mm gun, with 250 damage per shot, and an average penetration of 190mm. Undoubtedly, this is far from the most powerful gun. Currently in the game there are quite a few tier 8 medium tanks with a damage per shot of 320 and more. But still. Plus, this gun has comfortable stabilization, aiming time, and damage per minute. In general, T-44 is a versatile warrior that can adapt to any situation on the battlefield. In 4th place is the Polish Cs-52 Lis. In general, this tank is similar to the T-44, but surpasses it in one aspect, which we will talk about a bit later. In terms of mobility this tank is very good, but a bit worse than the Soviet T-44, just a little bit. Armor is also there, and again, it's about the same as the T-44. Here's the truth, the two tanks are almost identical, except for one detail. The gun. Namely the average damage per shot, which is 320 here. On the one hand, this is not very much, because nowadays there are a lot of medium tanks at tier 8 with damage per shot of 360 and 390. But on the other hand, in such a versatile tank concept, which has good armor, mobility, and comfortable accuracy, stabilization, and damage per minute, the average damage per shot of 320 seems very cool. So, gameplay of the Cs-52 Lis is exactly the same as the T-44, but, thanks to the higher damage per shot, you will do more damage per battle on average, and it will be more enjoyable to play. In 3rd place is the Chimera. This is a reward British medium tank, which you can get for completing a second company of personal missions. Its most important advantage is an incredibly powerful gun, with an average damage per shot of 440. Plus, this gun has very good average penetration, as well as good stabilization, accuracy, and aiming time. For example, everyone's favorite T-34-3 with 390 damage per shot, has mediocre shooting comfort, and that's normal, because it's a medium tank, and for such high damage per shot you have to pay accuracy. The Chimera doesn't have these weaknesses. That's its thing. Although the damage per minute is not very high. But it's not critical. As for mobility, everything is also very good. The top speed is 50 km per hour. The specific engine power is 16 horses per ton. To make mobility even better, I recommend to use turbocharger, it will be a good choice. Armor. It is also there. The turret forehead has 200mm of armor, the hull forehead has 160 to 180mm of armor. It's not much, but still not as bad if it wasn't there at all. In general, Chimera is a very strong and interesting tank with unique gameplay, which definitely deserves your attention. In 2nd place is the Italian Progetto 46. Since its release, this tank has become one of the best premium tanks to silver farming, and just one of the best medium tanks at tier 8. After all, it is really good. Excellent mobility. You can easily take a key position on any map. But the main advantage of this vehicle is the gun. It has a clip for 3 shells with 240 damage per shot. This is not much, but considering the fact that we mentioned earlier, that it has an auto-reloader clip mechanism, It makes shooting a lot of fun. With this mechanic, you can adapt to different situations on the battlefield. Plus, great accuracy and aiming time. This awesome tank has only one minus, this is the lack of armor. So, if you are a beginner, and have little game experience, you will at first be hard to play this tank, but if you want, you can learn to play carefully, then you will easily be able to do 2000 damage in every battle. Okay, before we go to the first place, let's remember the worthy and cool tanks that were not included in this list. The T-26E4 with very strong frontal armor and limited matchmaking. The AMBT with good armor and pretty good gun. The T-34-3 with a very powerful gun and limited matchmaking. And the autoloader Astron Rex. These are all great tanks. So, first place. The Bourrasque. This is a French medium tank, with the mobility of a light tank, and the firepower of a tank destroyer. You should agree that this is an interesting combination. Let's begin with its gun. It's really powerful. After all, it has a clip for 2 shells of 360 damage, with intra-clip reload of 2 seconds. The full reload time is about 20 seconds. The average penetration of basic shells is 190 mm, and this is pretty low. The average penetration of premium shells is 240 mm, and this is enough to comfortably penetrate almost all enemies. I recommend using only premium shells, because this is a premium tank, and you will not shoot very often, due to the gun features. Such parameters as accuracy and aiming time are, unfortunately, mediocre, but the stabilization is not bad. It's also worth noting that Bourrasque has excellent mobility, like a light tank. Except that the turning speed is not very fast, but this problem is solved by crew perks and equipment. Among the serious minuses is the lack of armor. So, it's necessary to play this tank very carefully. Thus, it's really interesting vehicle, and I've described only general features. If you want to know more information about this tank, as well as learn how to play it properly, I advise you to look my guide on Bourrasque. It doesn't last long. I highly recommend to try this tank. It has hard, but interesting gameplay, and I'm sure many WoT players will like it. Well, these were the 5 best Tier 8 medium tanks. Write in the comments your favorite Tier 8 medium tanks, it will be interesting to read. Thank you for watching this video to the end, I hope you found it useful. It's time to say goodbye. Good luck to everyone, and remember, don't play World of Tanks.